Well, hello, Humanities students. We've been getting some great questions that have been messaged to me over the Schoology platform, and I want to deal with some of those questions today because I do feel that they're very important. I feel like all of your questions are important, but these are some especially. The first question had to do with why are we spending 3 hours per week on the class site when maybe it doesn't take me 3 hours a week to look at the lectures? Well, please remember that what we're doing on the site is equivalent or pretty much the same thing as what's required of you in a face-to-face traditional class. In a face-to-face traditional class, we would be spending close to 3 hours a week together. It might be a little less than that, maybe 15 minutes less than that, but right there in that range of 2 hours, 45 minutes to 3 hours. And so what I want to do in this series, in this particular video rather today, is show you how you're to be spending your time and how in the future there will be more than enough on there to occupy your time productively on the site. So we'll get to that in just a moment. First, we also want to deal with a second question and I got this from a student today. I'm really not that familiar with Schoology. I'm really not that familiar with a learning management system. When I come to a traditional class, I come and I sit down and the teacher teaches and we participate and all of that. You've been doing that for most of your life. So for those of you that might not be familiar with a learning management system, this actually allows us to have a lot more tools than we would just have in a traditional class. The first advantage, of course, is that it's available to you 24/7. Not just in a limited time in a class. And then secondly, the scheduling options. We don't have the scheduling conflicts that we do. So let me remind you of some things that are on the site that will be helpful to you. I will be going into those a little bit more in detail later in this video, but just please be aware that on the right-hand column of the page, there's your class calendar, and everything coming up will be indicated with the dates on that calendar. Now, please bear in mind, this is a dynamic page, which means it changes over the course of the semester. Just like in a traditional class, during the last 5 minutes of the class, the instructor might say, okay, your assignment for tomorrow is fill in the blank, and you received that assignment right there in real time. It's the same thing on the Schoology page. I can make assignments at any given time, and since the idea is that you're supposed to be checking that and be on that site for 3 hours a week, there should be plenty of time daily for you to check this site. Now, again, we're not talking about you being on there 3 hours consecutively, just 3 hours over the course of the week, doing the things that, once again, we'll show later in this video. And then secondly, just getting on there and checking, have there been any updates? You can set the notifications where these updates will and these new assignments will come up on your phone, and you can do that. But again, if you're checking the site on a regular basis for your classes, there should be no issue with with this. And so as you're doing that, you should be well aware of the changes and the whatever new assignments may be coming on. Also remember that the instructor may not push out some assignments until later because maybe they're just not trying to overwhelm you. If you saw an entire, the entire curriculum for an entire semester on there, some students get overwhelmed with that. They look at that and they say, wow, look at all this stuff that we have to do. Whereas if we dole it out a little bit at a time, again, similar to what might happen in a traditional class, then it's maybe not quite as overwhelming. A third thing real quickly, we still have students that ask questions like, what textbook am I supposed to get? Remember, all that information is in your syllabus. So one of the reasons why we put that in the Let's Get Started folder, the very first folder that you encounter, when you come into the course and why it's required that you do those assignments before you go on to anything else is that we want you to read the syllabus. We want you to know what your textbook assignment is there, and what textbook that you're supposed to purchase or rent or get the ebook. And by all means, save money. Rent the book if you can. Get the electronic version of it. There's lots of options on that, and that's why most instructors will include the publisher site and maybe also the Amazon site as a part of your syllabus. If they're not doing that, remember it's easy to Google. Google's our friend. And so put the name with the proper edition of the textbook on there. Like say for instance in our class it's Culture and Values, 8th edition. And if you Google that, then a lot of options will come up for purchasing that book, or better yet, renting the book or getting an electronic version or renting an electronic version, which will save you a lot of money. And so by all means, our textbook, I believe right now runs about $250. I would not recommend that you spend that kind of money. You can rent it for far less than that. You can get an electronic version of it for far less than that. So please do take advantage of that. Now, we're going to go on and go to an actual page, our actual class page, and I want to show you a few things as we go through that that will probably help you to navigate the course. We also want to show you that there's Schoology tutorials, video tutorials. For those that are not familiar with Schoology, remember those are in the Let's Get Started folder. So take advantage of those. Please don't ever be overwhelmed by a situation where you don't know how to do something when there's all these helps that are out there for you in terms of video tutorials. By all means, if you need to ask me a question, I want you to do that. I want you to message me, but take advantage of what's available for you out there. So let's go on now to the class page.